We're now joined by West Virginia coach Neal Brown. Coach, welcome, and your thoughts about the upcoming season.
Thank you. Good morning. What a great venue for this event. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate everybody in this stadium, what they do for our great game. I'm proud to represent West Virginia and the great people in the state of West Virginia, accompanied by four of our best representatives from our team. Wide receiver T.J. Simmons, offensive lineman Colton McKivitz, cornerback Keith Washington, and defensive lineman Reese Donahue. Excited about them being here. Excited about being back in the Big 12. Last was a coordinator here in 2012. Excited about the direction of this league under Commissioner Bowlesby. I definitely think we're on the upward tick. This event signals the end of the summer. Ready or not, it's football season, and we're ready to go. Our players and staff, I can't compliment them anymore of how they really bought in to what we're doing and how we're building our program. We're young, very inexperienced. What we're going to look like in the fall, I'm not sure yet. I'm really not. We've had 15 on-field practices. We're going to be a group that really grows and improves as we go through our Big 12 conference and what is a very challenging schedule. But I do like our guys. I like our guys. They're hungry. They're very humble. And I'm looking forward to working with them. It's going to be a fun group. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Questions for Coach. If you'll put your hand up, we'll get a microphone to you. We got a question all the way in the back on the middle right side, Coach.
Okay.
He's going to stand up.
Neal, Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. We've been hearing stories about how well you've been received by the West Virginia fans. Did that come about in part because of anything you did, or was that just natural? You two guys, you and the fan base had a great connection.
Barry, I think it's because we're undefeated, and no, it's I think it's a couple things. I think our marketing staff and the people within our administration have done a really good job presenting us to the state. I think there's a lot of relatability. I'm from Kentucky. Brooke and I, my wife, we're 5 hours from our hometown, and I can't say enough of about how we've been received, really. And not only myself and my family, but also our staff and their families. It's exciting. We've got our hands full. It's one of those things where there's so much energy and so much excitement. You want to make sure that they understand that we lost a really lot from last year, Barry. And we're going to be a young football team. And I think our fan base understands that, and there's going to be some patience.
We got a question back there. We got a question in the middle left side.
Hey, Coach. Skylar Callahan with Bristol Broadcasting Company and WNation.com. You guys have a really rigorous schedule this year, 11 Power 5 opponents, and West Virginia is one of only 4 teams in the country to have that type of schedule. You guys also have that schedule for the next 5 years where you have 11 Power 5 opponents. So is this something that you think your guys embrace, and is it something that you believe other schools should kind of push towards too?
Well, first of all, I knew what the schedule was when I took the job. So I think when you look at scheduling, it is what it is. Honestly, we don't even talk to our players about it. Kind of in a one-game mindset, and I know that's cliche, but just go about. We play JMU. That's our first game. I thought we were one of 3. I didn't realize we were one of 4. I thought we were one of 3 Power 5 teams playing 11 Power 5 games. It's a very challenging schedule. If you look at our future schedules, it's challenging. I do think that we have to, being where we fit geographically, I think it's important for us to play natural rivals. The series with Pitt is coming up. We play Virginia Tech. Some of those type games make sense because it's hard for our fan base to travel, and so those geographic games, and natural rivalries, I think they're important for us to play.
We got a question on the front left.
Coach Ian Boyd from Inside Texas. How are things coming along finding players like Zach Weldon that allowed you to have a smash mouth approach at Troy? And how big a part of the plan is that to introduce that dimension to a spread, sometimes finesse league in the Big 12?
Now, first of all, I'm really impressed that you came up with Zach Weldon. So I'm really, really impressed with that. Zach Weldon was a walk-on for us at Troy, because I'm sure you may be the only one in this room that knows who Zach Weldon is. So I hope his mom's listening. But Zach Weldon was an S-back, which is a fullback in our system, and he walked on for us and ended up playing 40-plus snaps really over the last 3 years. So good research. Kudos to you. But the good thing about that is, if you will look at who we are as West Virginia University, who we are as a football program, who we are as a state, really at the core, we're hardworking, blue-collar people that are really prideful, and that lends itself to finding guys like that are unselfish, they're really giving, and so we're in the hunt for that position. You know, we've got a couple guys that are competing to do that. I do think it's important, and like I said, being a play caller in this league 3 years, I do understand what we're getting into. This is a league with a ton of dynamic offensive play callers, quarterbacks, playmakers on the offensive side. You will have to score to win games, but I do think it's important. If you look at the teams that have had the most success, it's been the teams that have been able to run the ball, especially when people know you're going to run the ball. Those are the teams that have won close games.
We got a question on the outside right, all the way back.
Scott Wright with the Oklahoman. Coach, you've seen this league from the inside. You've seen it from the outside. There's perceptions about defense in the Big 12. I was curious what your thoughts are and what you're preparing to expect.
I think be careful how I say this, because it's been I know it was talked about yesterday, but there's been an extremely high level of quarterback play in this league going back to 2008 or so. The run of quarterbacks over the last 10 to 12 years has been remarkable. And regardless of what conference you're in, it's hard to defend them. It's hard to defend those type of quarterbacks. I do think the defenses in this league are better than maybe what's presented on a national stage. I think that Commissioner Bowlesby talked about the bowl game production from the defensive teams, and that's something that needs to be noted. If you look at what's being done in this league, I think it is changing. I think that in some of the recent hires, I think it'll continue to improve. But the identity in this league so far has been as an offensive football league. And I think a lot of that goes back to some of the play callers and some of those dynamic offensive skill positions.
Halfway back on the right side.
Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. Coach, your predecessor there at West Virginia took a lot of transfers, and I'm just wondering, do you feel like that's West Virginia's niche in recruiting, or will your focus be more on high school players?
I think you have a mix, you know, and we're always going to try to build our team through the high school football and recruiting. I think that's how you build your foundation. I think it's important to have guys in your program for 4 and 5 years. But we're also going to be creative in how we build our roster. I think if you look at what we've done over the summer, you'll see that. We're going to be creative, and really it's a year-long approach to building our roster. So we will take transfers. I think that's something that, whether you're at West Virginia or any other 9 teams in this league, I think that everybody's done that, and we'll continue to do it. But we're going to build our program through high school football players.
Question on the left side, about halfway back.
Hi, Neal. Suzanne Halliburton with Austin American Statesman. I wanted to ask you about your offense. When you were calling plays at Tech, 2010 through 12, I don't think the Big 12 was quite as quick and up-tempo as it is now or has been. How much do you think you need to tweak your offense to get it to be Big 12 ready as far as speed it up?
Well, we had a lot of success at Texas Tech, and during that time it was looking around the room, several of you guys were covering the league there in 10, 11, and 12 when we were at Texas Tech. And those are some of the best offenses in the country at that time. So I think you change, the game evolves. You know, we won't look the same that we did when the last time I called plays in this league at Texas Tech in 2012. We've evolved, we've changed. We're probably a little bit more balanced now than we were at that point. I think on offense, regardless of what conference you're in, it's about taking the players you have and taking their strengths and trying to attack the defensive weaknesses. So I think that never changed, regardless of level, regardless of conference. I think that's what the best offensive play callers try to do.
Got a question on the right side aisle.
Riley Gaze from GoPowerCat.com. I just wanted your thoughts on the uniqueness of being part of a conference with 4 new coaches, you being one of them, and not just new coaches, but coaches with the level of success that you 4 have had.
Well, it is. I think there were quality hires across the league. This is a league of tremendous coaches and really innovative coaches, guys that have won at different levels. You know, I grew up in a family of educators, really been around sports almost all my life. And what I really respect about the group of head coaches in this league is so many of them work their way up from lower levels, lower positions, and work their way up to really, you know, the highest level of Power 5 college football.
Further questions for Coach? Last call for questions for the coach. Okay, Coach, they're going to let you off easy. Welcome to the league and good luck this season.
Yeah, thank you all. Again, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate what you do for our league.